Hello fishies, welcome back to another one of our Smash Bros murals. I'm not a super, I mean you guys have heard me say it many and many a times before. I'm not super familiar with absolutely all of these characters. But I have wanted to play this game, or rather I've just always thought the graphics were really pretty. This week's character is Sephiroth from the Final Fantasy series. I didn't know much about him other than he is tall and has taller sword. But I always liked the art for the Final Fantasy series is there's probably only one series. I don't know. I heard that I do my research a little bit here and there, so I kind of know what to talk about. And I know that there have been like a couple remakes and different cuts for some of the games. I also found it interesting to find out that his sword was 7 feet tall, which is taller than he is. Guess you could say now that's a katana. If you get that reference, I love you. If not, you should figure out where it's from. But anyways, apparently it is called an odachi, not a katana. But it's kind of based off of a katana. Sort of, maybe. But anyways, I've in my research I found that he was this super great soldier person with this sword, and he's the only one who can successfully wield it without being an incredible klutz. Because, let's be honest, if you were wielding a sword taller than yourself, I think that it would just be very awkward and klutzy. I mean, he is canonically about 6'1", so that sword's another foot on top of him. Plus, you're holding it at hand's length, so that's another, 3 or 4 feet above you, and he does this, single-handedly, and ambidextrously. I don't know if that's even possible, but it's possible for him, I guess. Also, you'll notice my sketch and my final are not entirely the same as far as the tail goes. I did not realize what type of furry this was until it was too late. So when I was originally doing this sketch and I was looking at the reference picture, I had thought that this was just a 2-horned unicorn or a dragon pony hybrid. I wasn't quite sure until we got the second reference picture and we found out he was just a full-on rhino. But it still works with the other reference that we have, and I think he turned out really nicely. And I guess rhinos and 2-horned unicorns are more similar than I thought they would be. I think Sephiroth as a character is just very majestic. I think it's the long flowing hair, or maybe it's just the cliche, solemn samurai vibes. Granted, he is kind of insane. So I don't know. Again, I had to look up whatever I do know from this because I've never played Final Fantasy. And I could be completely wrong. But I was reading, and apparently Sephiroth had these god cells injected in him, and he went insane and ended up taking out an entire town of probably innocent people. and then he just went kind of crazy. Which, I mean, we all go a little bit crazy, but I think taking out an entire town of innocents is a little bit much. But I guess that is the reason that he has, like, magical abilities and all that jazz. And he went from being a humble soldier who is just very good at soldiering to I am a god, now fear me. And so that's kind of the gist of his character arc from what I could understand. And it led to him being very bitter and hate-filled towards everyone and all things. Just sadistic and hateful. And I guess he tends to torment the main character, who I believe is Cloud, a lot. Which I think this series just really enjoys very interestingly shaped swords, because Cloud's is just a gigantic butcher knife. That'll be fun to draw later. We don't have someone set aside for Cloud, I don't think. I don't know. How many of you guys out there are Final Fantasy nerds? Or have any interest in it, other than my small interest of, hey, these are pretty anime people, and that seems interesting. And I do know that he was also not just in Smash Ultimate, but also in Kingdom Hearts as one of the boss battles there. Which I also found it interesting that in some like game depictions of him, he can shapeshift or like do illusionary stuff. Which I think shapeshifting is just a very fun power to experiment with. There's a lot of potential there. I think that's one of like my go-to superpowers in the cliche when someone asks you if you had a superpower, what would it be? I think shapeshifting would be really neat, because then you just have so much potential to be anything. He also apparently has at least one wing. I don't know if he ever had a full set of wings, but he has the nickname of like the one-winged angel. But it was also rather strange seeing younger versions of Sephiroth, because, you know, they have short hair and innocence. It's like the cliche of that meme that's just like saying yes sir to call me daddy. I think he went through quite the transformation. But I think his aesthetic is a very fun one. It just gives me... It also just kind of gives me the same vibes as like the cliche like samurai movies that are just vaguely referenced in other media, like the one in Steven Universe that was about I think it was like a janitor who was a samurai and fought people off with a mop. Sorry, this is kind of random. But I think there's just that trope of majestic samurais in everyday life. I wonder what it would be like to be a samurai and to actually have sword skills. I haven't really even held a sword in my lifetime, but, well, I have. My brothers, spontaneously decided to gift my mom a sword, as a casual birthday present. That's the type of people I grew up with. They're kind of random. They're kind of fun. I don't know what, maybe that sword is just upon her wall now. I don't know what they ended up doing with it, but it's a pretty nice sword. I think I went through like a phase where I wanted to just somehow become a blacksmith and know how to make swords. Imagine like how much metal you would need to make a 7-foot sword. Could that even be evenly balanced? I mean, I'm sure that people have done it and they've researched that. In fact, I think I vaguely remember seeing a video about someone recreating Sephiroth's sword. But I feel like either that would be extremely heavy or just very flimsy. And I don't think there is an in-between. So you'd have to be really strong to be able to hold it. But I guess that's his entire trope of being, you know, a super soldier, kind of like Captain America. Except, you know, not. But, you know, it's kind of the same general principle of doing experiments to get the perfect soldier. And in a way, they both succeeded, but also this is what would have happened if Captain America would have gone kind of insane. Anyways, these are just my thoughts on it. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for joining us for another one of these pieces, and we'll see you next time. Bye!